Hey guys! So 2 days ago, we got access to version 3.3's beta test on the Southeast Asian server, and even though it says, there's this note saying that, gameplay may vary because this is only a test server, there is already version 3.3 on the Chinese server, and because of that, most of the stuff here is actually finalized. Unless, of course, they decide to patch everything and change stuff in the official update, this is basically finalized. So we're going to do something like an advanced update summary, and then I'm going to show you guys around the beta server. But first, I'd like to mention that my initial intention was to release the Hershey of Reasons overview first thing after we got the beta. I had already translated all her skills. I was just waiting for the official translation of stuff like the construction energy and some of her skill names, but at the moment, we only have access to an S-ranked Hershey of Reason. We do have all her equipment, and we do have all the other Valkyries at SSS, and all their equipment as well, but not having the Hershey of Reason at both SS and SSS rank, and being in a test server, kind of feels like the video is gonna be incomplete. So I already made an inquiry about this, and I was told that we will be sent fragments to get them up to SS and SSS, and so until that happens, I'm not gonna complete, or I'm not gonna be able to complete the Hershey of Reasons overview. So, I'll just continue working on the Void Drifters one, because Void Drifter came out a little later, so I didn't really go through her skills because I was busy, playing both servers. And yeah, I'm still working on that, but we do actually have her at SSS. So yeah, just give me a while on that one. Anyway, for now, let's just go through the advanced update summary for version 3.3. Okay, so on the first tab, Beta Preview 1, New Battlesuit Hershey of Reason, everyone already knows that. Valkyrie Ranges Augment Core Void Drifter, everyone knows that too. Additions to the Hyperion Arsenal, new weapon, Key of Reason, new Stigmata, Welt Young. So one thing I'd like to mention real quick about Welt Young, people I talk to, and myself included, when we were reading the original comics and stuff like that, the original name used is Walter, and that name is really commonly translated to Walter. And so some of the initial translations were also calling him Walter, and getting used to this new name Welt does actually feel a little weird, but it is the officially chosen name, and I do respect officially chosen names a lot, and so I'm gonna call him Welt Young as well. Just wanna put that on record, not that I'm gonna call him Walter anytime soon. Okay, moving on, game changes and improvements. So, like I said, this is a summary. I'm not gonna go through everything, but it will all be captured on the video, so if there's something that catches your attention, you might want to pause the video just to read it, or you can just wait for the 15th of August and read it when it hits your server, be it the Southeast Asian or global server. Alright, so for me, anything with the Ioniva twins actually does catch my attention because when they came out, it was a little rocky for Molotov Cherry because she is an S-rank Valkyrie, and she's not really living up to her name as an S-rank Valkyrie. And so they have just been refining their attack moves, making it smoother, and I really appreciate that. Alright, so next up we have Phoenix's second point. Senki Dashing Turn now has a longer window to be triggered after an ultimate evasion. I did do a video that did involve this, the one where you take out Heimdall with Phoenix, and I did briefly talk about she has this window where you can hold that state before you do this skill after an ultimate evasion, and they have just increased that window, so it's gonna be a lot easier, especially if you're relying on Phoenix to take Heimdall down. Okay, so some of the Valkyries, the list down here, have their basic attacks boosted. And the next one, Equipment, this one has a few really interesting ones. So for Blood Embrace, they reduce the SP cost. That one I think most people know, but for these F2P weapons, they've made a lot of changes. So for Silver Reaper, I've never used that cross before, but some of you might have, or some of you might still be using it. You'll be glad to know that the SP cost is reduced, and the damage per hit has been tripled. So it was originally 317, it is now 900 per hit. That is insane. At least it sounds insane. I don't know how strong it will be actually, so maybe I'll test it here since it's a test server. Next up, we have Dragon Spine. So I do have a little bit of sentimental value for this one because it is the first 5-star weapon I ever got my hands on in Honkai Impact 3. Anyway, the cooldown has been reduced from 25 to 15 seconds. SP cost has been reduced from 25 to 6. That is insane. total damage multiplier has been amplified from 250% to 600%. So, it would seem that these F2P weapons have been severely underpowered. Anyway, Onyx Iron is also, it's the F2P Scythe. Skill Protective Field, SP cost reduced from 15 to 5. Wow, when the shield exists, wielder deals 10% bonus physical damage. Oh my god. It used to be 10% total damage multiplier. I know this because I have one. So, alright, let's go for it first. Skill Vitality Drive, new effect. Gain 0.5% physical damage per 10% HP. Wow, I mean, it's actually really hard to get an F2P side for Phantom Iron or Adrenite Artemis. So, F in the chat for anyone who's relying on Onyx Iron but won't be able to in version 3.3. I feel for you guys, man. Alright, so the rest of them are like 4-star weapons. I wouldn't really bother going through them. Alright, Jingwei's Wings. SP cost has been reduced to 18 for its active skill. This is really great because I sometimes use it on White Comet against the Dark Shinon boss, and, you know, sometimes I do find myself short on SP, not all the time, but sometimes, and this would probably fix it for players like me. Okay, Nuada's Grief. Effect range has been expanded for its active skill. When casting this skill, the wielder will charge toward the target. This is great. Ever since Nuada's Grief came out, I've been having a lot of issues with its active skill. Its range is so short. It's just totally useless, and you need it to cause bleeding to your target so that Shadow Knight can deal that additional damage from her passive unless your Shadow Knight is double S and above, in which case Alpha Wolves or Cygnus' Gauntlets will be the better choice. But, you know, for me, I still only have her at S. Nuada's Griefs is a really good option, but not having used that active skill as much as I would have liked to, kind of feels like I've been wasting the weapon's potential. But anyway, let's move on to Beta Preview 2. So there are a lot of significant changes around here, but I will try to go over them quickly. Alright, so first up we have Ogier. Yes, it's a French name. Anyway, only the T part has kind of been buffed, because previously we had like this 20% or less SP condition to all the parts from Ogier. Now, they have all been removed, and the T parts and B parts have an additional skill added. For the T part, when the Valkyrie equipping it is not in the field, teammates gain 7% bonus elemental damage. Same for the B part, it's just that it's 5% and it's physical damage. Overall, I'm not too sure if this is a buff or a nerf for the 2 and 3 sets. So previously on the 3 set, we would get 20% physical damage when attacking Biotype enemies, and if we use it on Bronya, she gets 40% critical damage. Now, the entire set has just been changed into some, I don't know, defensive set, but for me in Honkai, the best defense is a good offense. Next up, we have Wang Zhaojun. The changes on this Stigmata set are extreme. So the T part gives us an increase in fire damage by 15%. Before, we only had a 26% boost in max HP. Like, that's useful. Anyway, the M part has an increase in 10% for fire damage, and it has a secondary ability that charges up every 10 seconds, and once that 10 seconds is up, we get a total damage multiplier increase by 10% for 5 seconds. So it kind of feels like the Edison Stigma, but that only works for one basic attack. This one works for 5 seconds. And last of all, the B part, we get an increase in total damage multiplier by 5%. During battle, each enemy on the battlefield increases fire damage by 5%, which stacks up to 4 times. So that's a total of 20% fire damage and 5% total damage if you're facing, like, you know, a huge amount of enemies. So the 2 set bonus increases fire damage by 15%, attacks deal 300% attack of fire damage to enemies nearby, but has a 15-second cooldown. For the 3 set, when in battle, increases max HP by 20% and total damage multiplier by 10%. This is insane. I'm using it on Flame Sakitama on my Chinese account, so yeah, it's actually really useful. Get yours when version 3.3 comes out if you have a shortage of fire. Moving on, Elizabeth Bathory. So, I'm not too sure if that's the way to pronounce her name. I keep forgetting how, so sorry if I butchered it. Anyway, her T part, well, basically remains unchanged, but she gets an additional critical rate of 5%. Well, 5% isn't too great. It is a 4-star free Stigmata, so, 5% is just about right, I guess. Anyway, the M part has been adjusted in a really, I don't know, it kind of works for me. So previously we had 20% physical damage when HP is 80% or higher. Now, 10% of that is unconditional, and the other will have that condition stuck to it. So no matter what, you will still be having 10% physical damage. That is quite a buff. The 2 part has also been buffed, and this is really significant. So previously, it was 20% melee physical damage. Now it's just physical damage, which is great. And the 3 part has an increase in attack speed by 15% in addition to what it previously had. The B part was not changed in any way, so it's not here on the list. Next, we have Edison. So this one is also a little crazy. So the T part has an increase in lightning damage by 15%. On top of what it previously had, but previously it was every 6 seconds we get a charge for the basic attack that deals an additional 510 lightning damage. Now we get 120% of our attack as lightning damage, so that is quite a significant buff. The M part has an increase in lightning damage by 10%, and still has its previous ability of generating a shield every 6 seconds that reduces incoming physical damage by 105. The B part now has an increase in total damage dealt by summon units by 30%. It also still has its previous ability, which charges once every 6 seconds, and the next basic attack will slow enemies by 30% for 4 seconds. The 2 and 3 set skills also have quite a significant buff. So previously we had a 7-second charge, and that will allow the next basic attack to deal an additional 60% physical damage. Now it's a 12-second buff, but the next basic attack deals an additional 50% in total damage and increases total damage by 15% for 6 seconds. 6 seconds is actually pretty good, especially since it's total damage. Anyway, onto the 3 part, it now increases lightning damage by 25%. So yeah, for those really reliant on 4-star sets, Fire and Lightning have just gone through a huge buff. Darwin's 3-set effect has also gone through a huge buff, so basically everything's the same, except for now it has that additional lightning damage by 20%. So previously it was only the movement speed by 20% and the origin of shields that breaks after 2 hits. So that is really insane, because Darwin has actually been quite a strong F2P lightning set, and now with an additional 20% lightning, it has become much more viable in, Abyss gameplay, and maybe even the Memorial Arena if that's what you're relying on. Phew! Alright, so we've gone through most of the important updates, so next up is Elves, or rather Elves. Anyway, they will be getting advanced talents, and I think there are 3 talents for each category, and what's so good about these is that like previously we had Obliteration, which is an additional 8.3% in total damage multiplier for the elf. Now we have another one that has a 10% buff for total damage multiplier for the elf, but you can't equip both of them on the same elf. However, being an additional talent, it means more than one elf can now have the total damage multiplier skill, and so you don't really have to keep re-equipping them. It's just that the bonus they get will be different, so you'll just have to prioritize them according to your usage, I guess. So, alright, the next one will be in the Foundry. We have the increased limits for the Fuhua Musician set. So previously we could only have 1 set, now we can have 3 of them. And even though it's not written here, the same thing has been applied to Picasso as well. So, there are some strategies that require you to have more than 1 piece of Picasso. Some people have been able to do that by first forging one and then getting the bonus reward from the Chronicle, but now we can get 3 officially. The cost of the Fuhua Musician set has also been changed to 120 SS Imaginons each, instead of before when we needed Red Magatama. Okay, so we're done with most of the stuff from version 3.3. Like I said, you can just pause at points in the video where you want to read stuff. But before we move on to looking around the beta and gameplay, this is something I want to cover in case you didn't already know. There will be weapons in the exchange house, and we'll use weapon resonance to exchange for them, but you'll need 4,000 each. Also, the refresh is now done by Astrite. 1,000 Astrite per refresh instead of using crystals, which is great. And I'll just scroll through the list of weapons that are available. So most of the weapons in the meta are in here, which is just insane. So we will have stuff like the Oath of Judah, we have stuff like Flint Sonata, we have the Ice Epiphyllum, we have the 11th Sacred Relic, you know, basically everything you need to build up your account. And yeah, I hope most of you guys get the growth that you're looking for. So they will cost 4 weapons. Unfortunately, only gacha weapons can be converted to weapon resonance, so instead of having the ability to convert 600 AE Imaginons into a weapon, we will have to farm more from the bounty mark and convert them to their gacha level weapon before we can convert them into weapon resonance. I know it is a really long process, but you know, some of the weapons in the list are really worth it, so at least that's something you can do. Otherwise, you know, the spare weapons that you get from gacha, you can just exchange them. So we will need this resin convert, and for now, it says 4 can be purchased until the event ends, and each will cost 2,000 Astrite, so that means 1 weapon can be bought from the exchange house. But in the Chinese server, they also did an event where you can exchange 1 Honkai Crystal for 1,000 weapon resonance, so we could probably exchange for 2 weapons in the event, and then they'll probably refine the system, and then we'll get to know how it works in the long run. So I'm just gonna show you guys around the beta. Not too much is different actually. We do have access to the open world, but it's only to the Sakura Samsara. We can actually do the storyline for that. I might actually do it. We do have access to all the story except for the newest one, which is 11EX. Even though it says it's 100% complete. The release date here is the 29th of August, so look forward to that. We do have access to the Hershey of Reasons Battlesuit Trials, but we do not have access to the Void Drifters. But no matter, we already have Void Drifter at SSS, so why would we want to do the trial stages, right? And we do have this tab, which allows us to access the simulators. So there is the General Simulator, which is what you see people go in to test the Valkyries out on these monsters that cannot be killed. Then we have the Memorial Arena tabs where we can access basically any boss, but at this point in time we do not have access to the Hershey of the Void, Heimdall, or Dark Shinyon. Other than that though, we do have access to all the other bosses, including the new bosses, which are MHT 3 packs, which is that tank, or some people have been calling the Batmobile, MR06X Hephaestus, which is either the bulkier version of Baldur or the less bulky version of Heimdall, whichever floats your boat, and Argent Knight Artemis, who needs no introduction. Okay, so to end up the video, I'm gonna do a few runs with Void Drifter, you know, just to show that there's a little gameplay in beta. Don't worry about that. And this is gonna be like a one-shot run. So I'm gonna run this against Colin and a few other bosses that it might be viable against. Wow, look at that damage. Okay, probably not gonna cut it. But yeah, one thing to note, the combination that I'm using, well, the support Valkyries and their support equipment are actually extremely high value. So in time, we will come up with better team combinations. Okay, this one might cut it. No, it won't. Oh man. Okay, my Herrscher of the Void isn't equipped to finish her off, and I got finished off by her. Okay, we're gonna restart. I think I could get it in maybe 1 or 2 tries. So here's the thing, I am using Schrödinger T, and that always makes us rerun a lot. But, you know, it's worth it because the damage output is like, it's just insane. Alright, let's see, we got it this time. No, we do not. I need to be getting it down to at least the yellow bar with the first combo. Otherwise, yeah, I won't be able to finish her off because, you know, when all these support Stigmata, once their debuff drops out, you're not gonna have all that much damage. So it's within that first attack, that burst of damage, you'll have to make full use of it, and everything has to align. Like, you have to have critical hits, you'll have to have Schrödinger at its high damage output, and stuff like that. Also, I'm gonna make a minor change here. I'm going to change May's Beach Party to Beethoven M, because Void Drifter is using melee physical damage anyway. And let's check this out. So it should work better And let's hope all the... Yeah, wow, look at that. Almost took her down in one entire combo. In fact, I think it is entirely possible. I might just have to try harder. But for now, we'll just take that and move on to the next boss. So the next few I want to do Jizo, but I'm not too sure if Jizo is... I'm not too sure if Void Drifter's damage is going to cut it with Jizo. Maybe just one try, just to see what we're working with. And then I'll move on to the other bosses like Shadow Knight, RPC, and probably Helmaru. So for now, I know it definitely works on the Herrscher of the Void boss, but we don't have access to her, and I would like to try it on Dark Shinyan as well. We don't have access to that either, so we'll have to see if they give us access before the beta closes. Okay, that wasn't too bad, but I don't think I want to try dealing with that right now, so let's move on to Shadow Knight. Shadow Knight, I think we have a much higher chance. I'm not too sure if I remember seeing any videos against Shadow Knight from the Chinese server. I think some of them have done it, but I don't really remember. Okay, so I'm pretty sure we'll have to do a second rotation, and I'm gonna have to change my Hershey of the Void's weapon to Artemis's Guardian if I want to be doing that. Alright, so let me just have a look at her skills real quickly. I mean, I haven't really read what the Void Drifter can do. I've just seen like some clips of her against the Memorial Arena bosses, and that's why I'm trying it out right now. But yeah, so she does deal additional damage to shields, and she does increase her own critical rate and critical damage. That is pretty impressive. She also has her QTE triggered by Impair, although I did think it was weakened, but apparently it is Impair. So, with that change, we are going to try to do the initial burst, which is a lot of damage. I'm actually doing a lot more than I did before, but it's not going to be able to finish her off. And so with Artemis's Guardian, we can now reactivate the QTE from Celestial Hymn and take Shadow Knight down at 31413. I don't think this is the optimized time, but, you know, these are just initial runs, so I'll try to get all the best timings or better timings and, you know, release a video with all the runs in it. Okay, and the next boss I'm going to try is, probably RPC. Yeah, I think we'll go with RPC first and then Helmaru. So RPC I think would be fairly easy because, you know, it is type neutral, so... Wow, look at that damage! Holy crap, oh, it's not enough. Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to do a second rotation, although I am pretty sure that we can actually finish it off in one combo. But yeah, let's finish it off at 31360 for now, and I will come back and try to refine this one, or, you know, maybe change up some parts in the team combination, and give me a better shot at it. Okay, so this video has already been super long. I usually don't do videos that are this long unless they're like Abyss runs. But here we are, at the last boss that I'm going to try this on, Helmaru. And I'm just leaving everything the way it is because, you know, I don't think there's much reconfiguration needed. And yeah, I just waited for the shield actually. Not too sure if I had to do that. Also, if you want to cover... Okay, so 31413, maybe I'll try again. So if you want to cover, like, the field with a time fracture so that your timer doesn't go down while you're waiting for the Void Drifter's switch skill to cooldown, you can actually switch in the Celestial Hymn and then cancel her QTE and then use her charge attack to activate Void Drifter's QTE. So I might have done this pretty poorly. Yeah. But anyway, we're gonna finish it off at, I think, probably the same score. Yep. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And I hope you guys have gotten the kind of information that you needed from the upcoming version 3.3 update. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. So look out for the Herrscher of Reasons overview and Void Drifter's overview, and then I'll be doing a bunch of other stuff with the beta as well. So, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys soon.